Hello, I'm Ralph Vock. I'm owner of a PuroClean franchise that operates out of Claremont, Florida. We cover the Central Florida area. I'm here today to talk to a customer of ours, the Edmonds, that we completed a fire restoration project. Started on a holiday weekend, July 4th weekend, and I'm here today just to confirm that we met all the expectations, were there any issues, and how was our performance. Kimberly, when we first showed up on Friday night, when the fire occurred in your house, what was their expectations, what were your thoughts, and where were you at that moment?
When our house caught on fire in July, I had no idea what to expect. I knew we had damage in the one room. The fire was confined to the living room, but there was soot and water everywhere. Throughout the house there was soot. I had no idea that it could travel so far from the living room through the master bedroom into the master bath.
Did we address the issues and get you comfortable and explain the process? And did you understand what the next step and flow is going to be with the timeline?
Throughout the process, the next 6 weeks, they were in almost a constant contact with us. They were letting us know what they were working on, who we could expect to come to the house. If they said they were coming at 10 o'clock and my husband and I thought we'd get here a little bit early to check things out, they were already here. They were always on time. They were always prompt. And the people that they sent were very competent and concerned about us and our things.
I like to go through the house to go through what we performed, and does it meet your expectations? Yeah, one of the first things we do when we arrive on the project, when we respond, our goal is to get here within 2 hours to minimize any further damage that has occurred. And one of the first things we do is we assess the damage, get a game plan together that meets our professional protocols. Our project manager takes over and gets the crew working, and to first handle the immediate needs, and then with the long-range plans on how we can get the project completed on schedule and within the budget.
The guys from PuroClean came and were so reassuring. They came on a holiday weekend. That first night, Terrance stayed until past midnight, making sure he could get the damaged drywall and the carpeting out of the house so it wouldn't create any more damage or problems that they'd have to deal with.
Terrance? Thank you. First thing that I always do when I come into a home is obviously the home is important to make sure we get that taken care of, but the customer is probably the most important thing, to make sure they're comfortable with us and to also make sure that they understand what we're doing. After going through that process with them, make sure that everybody's on the same page, we get our guys in here, and what we have was a fire that was actually right here in a fish tank. It damaged the wall. Fire department actually came in, put a hole in the ceiling, and we had a charred remains through here with soot through the entire home.
And water damage from the fire.
Yeah, 50 gallons. I think it was 50 gallons, yeah. That ran through, basically affected that side of the house and even this way some too. So our first order of business for us was to get all the water out of the home, as that can do the most damage in a short amount of time after the fire is obviously put out. We went through, extracted everything, removed the carpets because it is a Category 3 loss. We don't want to leave something behind that can make someone sick. Set up a lot of drying equipment that they had to deal with for a few days before they were able to get out of the home. At which time then we set up a schedule, removed this entire wall of drywall, so that wasn't continuing to emit noxious fumes into the home for them.
Try to get to the source of the odor, to get the odor out so we can minimize later odor results.
The crews that were sent to our house were all so very thorough about making sure that everything was really clean. Every single thing in my house was taken out and cleaned, and the soot was removed, the odors were removed. In the interior of the house, even the parts that weren't repainted were cleaned just to a white glove inspection cleanliness. The corners, the windowsills, the little corners were just immaculate. I was very impressed. They also thought of things that we didn't think about. For example, my piano was vacuumed out, and then they actually replaced all the felts and hammers inside the piano because they didn't feel they could get enough of the actual soot and things off of it that would sit on those strings and damage it further down the line. So that was totally unexpected and just a real relief for us when they pointed out what they had done.
Once all that was done and dried, we got authorization through the insurance company along every step of the way so that we're not running up a bill that the homeowner all of a sudden may be stuck with because we didn't do our job properly. It's very important for us to make sure that we protect the homeowner from further issues down the road. Once that was done, we set up a schedule, got it set up to have the drywall repaired. The cleaning of all the walls, we cleaned all the walls professionally and removed any soot that was on the walls and the ceilings. We actually replaced the ceilings throughout the house and repainted the house. Did all the odor remediation, elimination. We also removed all the contents out of the home for the customer so that that's something that they didn't have to do, and cleaned those as well for them too.
And one of the processes we go through is we identify what's salvageable and non-salvageable, take a complete inventory, take photos, so we manage the contents from start to finish, and then we line up subcontractors that we need, professional electrical restoration companies as well as soft good cleaners if it's needed to handle the project. So we'll put the project together that handles 3 or 4 activities going on at the same time.
My husband and I are musicians and have a lot of electronic gear, a lot of acoustic instruments as well that are very dear to us, and there was a concern how the soot would affect all of that stuff. And they made sure that the people came to the house. The electronics were never out of their possession, so that they could be assured that it was, in a safe place, and everything was cleaned and soot removed. I get what they explained to me was that the soot was very acidic and could damage the inside of those electronic devices, and they asked it would eat away at the solder joints. So they wanted to be very careful that those were taken care of correctly.
Okay, one of our biggest challenges when we arrived Friday night, this room, which serves the purpose of a music studio for the residents, the homeowners, this room had the most water damage, and when we start our drying process, we have to raise the temperature to get the humidity and the water vapor out of the room, and it's going to get pretty warm and hot, and as you can see there's a lot of very critical electronic equipment. We had to decide the content manipulation and how we were going to control the drying process, and we came in and we packaged, during the pack out, we went through and determined what could be salvageable in here, and we packed out and removed all the electrical items into another area of the house, and then we started our water remediation. Our dehumidifiers, our air movers, and created our PuroClean drying system. And that's the first scope of the work that we had to complete immediately to get the water out of the house and the source of the smoke.
I was so thankful that the insurance company had sent PuroClean to help us. The whole experience could have been a nightmare, and they made it really understandable and really bearable. They were godsend.
One of the things that we strive as a company that we'll do, whatever it takes to minimize the loss as well as satisfy the customer's requirements. We go out of our way to understand and make you feel as best you can due to the circumstances and get you back to your pre-loss condition.